Good evening, everyone. This is our tutorial class number 2, and we'll be talking a little bit about post-colonial literature. The supremacy of Britain in the world until almost the first half of the 20th century has led to the institution and predominance of a paradigm that whatever originated in and belonged to Great Britain should be taken as superlative and unquestionable. Within this construction, and with the development of English as a world language, postcolonialism defines the historical period from the mid-20th century onwards in which formerly dependent colonies under the powerful imperial European countries got their political independence. In literature, it refers to the period in which the former colonized people appropriated the language imposed on them by the colonizers, the Europeans, to write back as a way to express their feelings, mostly of oppression, a reaction against the detrimental effects caused by colonizers. It is Brach-Cachereau, with his classification of varieties of Englishes or world Englishes, who speaks of the circles of English, which represent the ways in which the language has been acquired and is used at present. The inner circle refers to the traditional basis of English, where it is a primary language. It includes USA, UK, Ireland, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. The outer or extended circle involves the earlier phases of the spread of English in non-native settings, where the language has become part of a country's chief institutions and plays an important second language role in a multilingual setting. It includes Singapore, India, Malawi, and over 50 other territories. The expanding circle involves those nations which recognize the importance of English as an international language, though they do not have a history of colonization by members of the inner circle, nor have they given English any special status in their language policy. It includes China, Japan, Israel, Greece, Poland, and a steadily increasing number of other states. In these areas, English is taught as a foreign language. Following Cachereau's classification of varieties of English, this week's class will be focused on literature in English on the writings produced in the outer circle. This literature explores the appropriation of the English language by writers of different cultures in a post-colonial period, introducing us to the reality that there is literature in English from other countries rather than England and the US, which deserve our highest concentration. These new literatures in English refer to the literary production of colonized people after the decline of the British Empire. Colonialism, seen from the perspective of those belonging to the inner circle, has been described as having a civilizing mission, since it provided the colonized with the opportunity to profit from it in educational and social terms. In this sense, imposing on the natives the colonizers' language and traditions was a means of exercising control over them. Conversely, seen from the perspective of those belonging to the outer circle, colonialism actually meant the imposition of a so-called superior language and culture which, in turn, led to the suppression of their native languages and cultural practices. Therefore, the natives found themselves not only deprived of their own self, but also outsiders in that new world imposed on them. It was an imposition that meant to deny their own language, customs, their own traditions, for the sake of survival. Yet, instead of looking back in anger, they appropriated and adapted the conqueror's language and used it for their own profit. The short story this week focuses on an example of these new literatures in Englishes, produced within the post-colonial period by formerly colonized people under the British Empire. You will find in the Baker's Story by V.S. Naipaul a picturesque illustration of the linguistic, cultural and social impact of imperial colonialism on the Caribbean. So for that, I hope you really enjoy the Baker's Story as much as I do. Thank you very much for your listening and enjoy the class this week.